Big Papi's going to join us in a sec. He is a big part of a documentary that will be shown after Game 3 of the ALCS between the Rangers and the Astros. It'll be on FS1. It's called The Game That Changed Everything, Yankees, Red Sox, 04 ALCS. Here's the trailer.
Fenway Park is filled. Every seat is occupied.
It's the greatest rivalry in sports.
Fourth game of the American League Championship Series, the Red Sox and Yankees.
We didn't like each other.
It's the single greatest sports story of all time. It's biblical.
No team in baseball history has come back from an 0-3 deficit.
I know what being under pressure was like, because I was ready.
It all changed in 2004. Game 4 just changed everything.
Yeah, that's when my memory stops.
This game in itself is a story.
Ortiz in the deep right field.
All right, it's happening October 18th today, following Game 3 of the ALCS on FS1. Let's get into it with your boy right now, AJ. Big Papi joining us on FT Live. How you doing? Look, you raised a monster, a media monster now, Papi.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, that's life, man. I mean, you start things up at one place and you never know what the next step is going to be like. But AJ and me, we go way back.
Hey, David, forget about me. The fact that you're on TV with your sorry-ass accent and all the shit you talking, the fact that you haven't got kicked off TV is way more crazy.
Hey, that's what made me special, by the way. Talking all that trash out there, you know how it is. You know me. You know me better than anybody.
I know.
Hey, we need more of it. So let's start with the doc first. So how fun was it for you to relive the memories? Obviously, people probably ask you about 2004 almost every day of your life, but to put this all together, I know it's coming out. Are you excited to watch it? Have you seen it already, or are they making you wait like everyone else?
I haven't seen it. All I know is that at some point they got me into the conversation, you know, basically talking about part of the everything that how it happens, you know. But I haven't seen anything. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I want to see this because I remember this whole deal. I remember thinking, because I obviously knew you, I knew Johnny Damon, I knew Wake, I knew Bronson Arroyo. It was like you guys were like all the guys I came up with. Minkiewicz was on that team.
Right.
There was like all these dudes I knew from like Mark Bellhorn, I knew from my high school, like all these guys.
You got all your boys there. You got all your boys
I'm like,
there.
damn. And then you guys go down 3-0, and then all of a sudden, you know, some guy steals a base who no one's ever heard of, Dave Roberts, right? And Millar walks, all he did was walk, but he takes all the credit for everything, right? And then, Bill Miller gets the hit, right? Then you come up, get the hit, and then it was just rolling. Because you guys, if you remember, y'all got crushed in Game 3. It was like 25-4 or something.
Bro, it was like fireworks. I remember I was actually day before yesterday, we were talking a little bit about it on the show. And I remember the one thing that I never forget is the ball that Gary Sheffield, my boy Gary Sheffield, hit off the Green Monster. He hit that ball so hard, and that was so loud that when the ball hit the Green Monster, came back close to the shortstop. Cabrera picked him up, and I'm like, this is insane. These guys, they are destroying us. You know what I'm saying? But you know how the games go, AJ. You play the game for a long time, and you know that it's never over until the last out. It get to be done. So we battled through it. It was basically David against Goliath. You know what I'm saying? Goliath take off at the very beginning, which he was damn, but you know, we figured it out. We found a way. You know, now that that I have been working for Fox for a long time, and I basically get caught up in the moments during the playoff. One thing that I realized is that the experience during the playoff is something that I would not change it, not even for talent when it comes down to the playoff. And it's because during the playoff, and you know this, AJ, the playoff, once you turn on the switch, not everybody's prepared to be in the playoff. Even if you made it, not everybody prepared to be in the playoff. If you don't have the experience, if you don't have guys in the team that know how to survive through the playoff, it's a different environment. It's a different feeling. There's a lot of emotion. The fans that didn't scream during the regular season, they're gonna be screaming during the playoff. People that wasn't able to come to see you during the regular season, they're gonna try to come and see you during the playoff. I mean, it's a lot. For example, you look at the Baltimore team that they just whoop everybody during the regular season, but it was a group of young kids, very talented, that it looked like they need guidance once they turn on the switch, the playoff switch. They're gonna be better. They're gonna be good. Don't take me wrong. They're gonna this playoff that they were part of this year for the years to come. They never gonna forget about. I'm telling you right now, playoff experience. You see now, manager like Bochy and Dusty Baker at the head of things. Rob Thompson, who basically with the Yankees, he was there for years. I mean, he had that mentality, he had that mindset. You know, you need it during the playoff. That's something that teams, when they are getting prepared to, because I see teams that they get prepared to play during the regular season, but they don't get prepared to be in the playoff. To be honest with you, because the playoff is a different monster, and people don't understand that.
Well, do you think that has to do with veterans? I mean, the Rangers spent a lot of money on Scherzer, Evaldi, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, right? Like they went out there and they picked up guys that have either been in the postseason and or have been in the league for a long time too, and it's making a huge difference. You're pointing to Baltimore. That's all young guys. I mean, Baltimore tanked for 6 years and they had nothing, and now they've got all young guys, but they didn't really bring in anybody big in the offseason. They didn't spend any money to try and help their guys. Am I onto something?
That answers your question. Texas, they just didn't go for players that were going to help them to win during the regular season. They went for play. Listen, when they signed Corey Seager, it was a lot of criticism about Corey Seager getting injured, getting this, getting that. Who's the man now?
That's right.
Corey Seager. He been in playoff. He know how to handle a business in playoff. You're talking about guys like Ubaldi, who doesn't. Ubaldi is the type of player that he don't get the recognition that he should. I mean, this guy is on my top 3 pitchers in the game as of right now. This guy, he's a hardworking guy. I mean, we have it in Boston for a couple of years, and going into the clubhouse, watching his work ethic, watching the way he get prepared. When I see him out there pitching, he gave me goosebumps because he worked for that. He worked for those moments. And you're talking about a guy that for us in Boston, he did something that you're not gonna see too many pitchers do it, which is start again. And when you need him as a closer, he come in and represent also. I mean, this guy's a beast, and you don't see many people talking about him. You talk about Scherzer. Look at what Scherzer is gonna try to do now, because he know how to handle the business. I would not be surprised if he come out there and perform at the highest level. He know how to do it. He know how to get it done. You know what I'm saying? I don't know much about his injury, what happened, but remember, he got 1 more year on his deal. So I guarantee you that if he's not ready, they're not gonna throw him out there, even in the situation that they are in. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna protect him as well. But like I say, man, playoff experience that take things to the next level, because when you go back to the situation that we went through in 2004, remember in 2003 we went pretty much through the same thing the year before, and that when once you step on that situation once again, the way you handle it, the way you handle the pressure, the way you handle the fans, the way you handle the situation, it's different because you've been there before. You know, it's not like you when you haven't been there.
Hey, David, do you believe you're talking about experience, right? But do you believe that there's got some guys that are just born with it, born with the moment, the ability in big moments to get those hits? Because I look at you, and I tell the story when people ask me, what was David like in A-ball when you guys played together? And I tell the story. Well, first of all, he was David Arias, and he was 7 years older, and then we traded for him and became David Ortiz and lost 7 years. So I don't know, but which is fine. But I remember the first time we ever played together was in Fort Myers, and first game of the year we were playing. You probably don't even remember this. And we were playing, I don't know, in Fort Myers, and they bring in a lefty in like the 9th inning, and David went oppo for a home run, walked him off. And I was like, damn, this dude's pretty good. And then obviously you went on and you got to the big leagues. You went from A-ball to the big leagues that year. And you got – what people forget is when you were with us with the Twins, you got a lot of big hits for us. So do you think that, like, it was just – some people are just born with it, or do you have to learn that? Because it seemed to me like you just had it from the get-go.
I tell you what, that's a good argument right there. I will say this. I believe, there's people that they born with that because I see a lot of, for example, you go to the Houston Astros team who have been in the ALCS for the past decade, I would say. They have guys that they have been able to come through. Like when you see kids like Altuve, Correa, who was part of that. I mean, Correa, if you look at Correa regular season, it's not a regular season that kind of impress you the way you expect coming from a guy like Correa. I mean, I know he's dealing with a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But during the playoff, this guy he's a beast. You know what I'm saying? The last guy you want to face to the playoff is guy like Correa, guy like Alvarez, guy like Altuve. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody is able to come through like those guys. So, yes, I agree with you on that. There's guys that they get to be born with. Like there's guys that they have to work their way. But the guys that are born with, there's not many. So it's not fair to basically look at it that way. Now, the game, the way you approach the game, the way you get prepared for the game, it all depends what organization you're playing for. Because when you play, for example, when you play for a team like the Phillies, you know that the fan base down there, they let you know what's up. They let you know what time it is. And if you are not ready for the fan base, you ain't coming through because you're gonna feel a lot of heat, a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying? And there's some other places just like it. And I play with guys that during the regular season they were fine, and once when the playoff kicks in, it was a different type of way for them. They feel like all eyes on them, and they couldn't perform. You know, I don't know if you remember the one World Series where I basically reunited the team and I start talking to them. You know me, AJ. I'm always observing everything. I'm a guy that I want to win. That's all I want to do when I play. I want to win, and I will do whatever I can do for my teammates to just get them lined up, so we can all go to the promised land. You know what I'm saying? And I know we had a good group of players, very talented, but everybody was young, and not many of us and on that team have the playoff experience because it was basically a group of guys coming from the farm, guys that we got from some other organization, this and that. You know, it was a very very young team. But the good thing about it was the high guys with experience like myself. You got Johnny Gums. You have you have a group of guys there lined up that have an idea. So one thing I saw, everybody was okay with just being in the World Series. And I wasn't okay with that. I was okay with winning the World Series. That was my goal. That was my thing. So the good thing was that I was a leader in the ball club, and the guys want to know what I had to say. And I used that at the moment to take advantage of the situation. And thanks God, everybody agreed with what I had to say, and everything just changed from that moment and up. But you need to have those players that had that type of experience, especially during this time of the year. Otherwise, it can turn down to be critical.
And what did you say, like, to players in that situation? Would you go, "Hey guys, it's World Series or bust"? Like, even when you're there, like, this season is a failure if we don't win this? Because now I think about you getting to spend some time with Derek Jeter, and I want to know who's giving each other more shit about things in a second. But he was always like that, right? The captain was always like, "Yo, World Series or this season sucks and it's a big failure." So did you take a page out of his book, say, with that 2013 team and be like, "Yo, I know that we're, exceeding expectations, but if we don't win, this is a failure"?
Well, if you, I gotta really tell you that my first line going to the guy, I basically told him, you don't get to the World Series every year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm seeing you guys comfortable with being here, which is fine. But at this stage right here, you don't get here every year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it take a minute. You have to whoop everybody to get here. And once you're here, you want to continue whooping. You don't want to stop, because the one thing that I always was concerned about, it was going to a World Series and coming out in a second place. That, I tell you what, I don't think I catch up any sleep while I was in the World Series, and it was because of it. I, I, I can't imagine how does it feel to go to a World Series and not winning it. I can only imagine. I was lucky enough to win every World Series that I was part of, but it's a big failure to me going to go to the World Series and not winning it. It's a big failure. It just I don't agree with just going to the World Series and not winning it. I don't know. Probably because I was lucky enough to win the 3 World Series that I was part of. But I just think about this. You fight through the whole year. You finally put a good team together that whoop everybody. You get to the World Series. What do you think is next? Win it. Win it. Because otherwise, if you don't win it, you had to start all over. It's like starting all over, and nothing guarantees that you're gonna be there the following season again. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get better, everybody gets stronger, and just because you went to the World Series, that doesn't mean you're gonna repeat again. Repeat is the hardest thing to do. So when I reunite the guys and I basically start talking to them, that was my first line. Bro, we're here now. We don't know when we're gonna get back here. Listen, the Red Sox since that went back to the World Series in 2018, right? But it took 5 years to get back on a horse. You know what I'm saying? It took 5 years. After that 2013, it took the team 5 years to be in it, and who knows how long it's gonna take them to be in there again. The way things are looking right now.
Hey, David, do you think any of the stuff you learned came from, like, the Twins? Like, we lost in 2002. Remember, we beat the A's, we lost to the Angels. 2003, you go to the Red Sox, you guys lose, obviously, in Game 7. So, I mean, I remember when we went to the World Series, I was like, I ain't losing this shit. I'm like, I've been through these losses before. The losses suck, right?
That's right.
I mean, you guys went through
That's
the toughest
right.
thing ever in 03, and then obviously 04, you guys pull it out from down 03. But, I mean, some of the lessons had to be from, as you would say, back in the day with the Twins.
No, I tell you what, man. I always gonna appreciate my time with the Twins, because if one thing I learned coming out of the Twin organization, it was next time I get an opportunity to play at this level, I'm gonna let go under my terms. Because AJ, we grew up into that system. It was very unstable the way they used to handle the business with us. You know what I'm saying? Okay, 1 year you have 14 rookies there. That ain't my fault. It's what you can afford. So now that you got the 14 rookie, instead of criticizing those players, prepare them so you can have the best coming out of them. You know what I'm saying? And that was the whole thing with us while we were an assistant. I mean, I always say this: TK was ready to deal with veteran player, which is fine. I got no issues with that because once I became to be a veteran player, I understand how manager relationship goes along with veteran players. I understand that. But I think we were supposed to be handled in a better type of way because all the guys that were there at the time, all those rookies, they became to be somebody in a different organization. Have you ever thought about that?
All the time. Think about you, Tori.
Look,
Tori, Doug.
Johan, you, Tori, me, LaTroy Hawkins, who was there and went somewhere else, Jack Jones, Matt Lawton. I mean, all the youngsters. Because I'm not gonna mention Paul Molitor because he was on his way out. I'm not gonna mention Ron Coomer. He was on his way out. Basically, there were people that those guys that they were around for a long time. We had guys like Christian Guzman who went to the National and went somewhere else. I mean, we have good players. I just don't think they did what they were supposed to. Because with that team, 2002, we went to the playoff with a team that had to stay on the field after the game to take infield practice because somebody committed an error.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Remember
You
we had
remember
to
those
take
days,
extra
right?
BP? Remember we had to
You know
take
what I'm
extra
saying?
BP after the games because there was no cage?
I feel like I was in Able back again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
You have guy like Corey Kasky, incredible third base. I mean, we had the tool, we got the talent, but I believe that it was mishandled, and that's why they got to get rid of all of us at some point, and we go somewhere else. But I always gonna appreciate that I went through hell in that organization because my mindset was whenever I get the opportunity to play against somebody else, they're gonna know who I really am. Because I tell you what, though, you know this. Since I came up in the minor league, I showed the whole planet that I can hit for power and for average. But once I got to the big league with Minnesota, everything kind of changed. You know, Minnesota wasn't used to power hitting. Minnesota was used to they were trying to looking for a lot of things at once. But one thing I realized is don't change me. Let me be who I am. You're gonna get better things coming from me as me being who I am than you trying to. Every player has their nature. You can work with their nature. You cannot change their nature. You know, I remember I always talk about this. You remember in Minnesota how they always want you to move runner over and this and that and blah blah blah. My first at bat in a spring training after I went to Boston, it was against Kyle Lowe's. Remember Kyle, right?
Yeah.
And sinker baller. That was in a spring training. Grady Little was my manager. And I came to hit my first at bat against the Twins spring training, man in second, no out. And Kyle Lowe's threw me a sinker over there in the other batting box, and I reach out and I hit a ground ball to second base. And when I'm on my way back to the dugout, everybody just sitting like, and Grady Little pulled me to the side and told me, hey, big guy, I don't want you to move that runner over. I want you to bring him in. So when you go out there, be you and do what you know are your best. When he said that to me, after that, I hit 500 home runs.
That's powerful.
Listen, the best thing you did was get the fuck out of Minnesota.
Probably.
I mean, listen,
because every time you take a hard swing, you have TK screaming at you from the dugout. Hey, what you doing? I'm trying to be me, man. You know what I'm saying? Punching Judy. You got that a lot here. You got too many punching Judy right here.
Hey, don't make fun of us good punching Judy hitters, okay? All right? Some of us were good at that shit, hitting it over the shortstop's head, all right? We all can't hit 500 homers.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, once I got into the Red Sox, like I say, I always gonna appreciate my time with the Minnesota Twins for the opportunity, and I learned so many good things because I got to know so many good people. But that was the base for me to take over once I got my opportunity with the Red Sox. And one thing that I got to tell you, I also, when I went to the Red Sox, it was a lot of superstars there. Manny, Pedro, Veritek, Johnny was there, Tradition. I mean, I want to know why those guys were that good. And at the end of the day, it was pretty much the same. Everybody used to work their asses up out there. Nobody was taking anything for granted. You know what I'm saying? And that hit home for me.
Legends territory, fam. We appreciate you for not only watching this show, but putting up with all of our antics, including us wearing our premium polarized shades inside because we love them so much. And a shout out to our friends at Shady Rays for hooking us up with the sweet stuff here that we've got on our eyes, protecting us when we're outside, especially for AJ and me, because yeah, it's still hot out, but it's actually hot out year round for us because we're in Florida. So gear up for whatever season you've got ahead of you with sunshine, with quality shades built to last. You do not need to break the bank to look like this. So cheers to Shady Rays for the durable frames, the extremely clear optics for whatever outdoor adventure you've got going on, and the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses backed by lost and broken replacements, meaning even if it's day one and you break a pair or you can't find what you've got, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. So you can wear those Shady Rays with confidence. And if you'd like a little discount hookup, then go to shadyrays.com, and for their best deal of the season, you enter the code, I know this is difficult, FOUL, F-O-U-L. You can do it for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. AJ loves them so much that he's speechless. I want to get back to Jeter for one sec because you're working with him right now, and it ties into this documentary because he had plenty. He got enough. He got enough winning, enough rings, all that shit, right? This doc that's coming out is about you guys and changing the complexion of a franchise, right? Snapping a ridiculous slump that went for so long and then introducing winning. I mean, it wasn't just 2004. That kicked off all of the success that you had in your career. So fast forward to now. Can you give Derek Jeter shit for the 2004 comeback for the Red Sox, or does he come right back at you and show you all of the rings that he has?
I did the other day. You did. That went viral.
I saw that, but does he ultimately say, "Hey, dude, I got you"? Right? He's got more rings than you.
Oh man, I tell you what. Now that we work together, me and DJ, I always have good. You know, we wasn't like best friend or anything when we played, but we know each other, and I always respect Derek. Derek to me is the type of player that you want to come and watch, you know, going by the business. The guy was very respectful. The guy was nothing but business. I mean, the way he handled the business was very personal. I always say this: me and Derek, we had different personality. You know, I'm the guy that I always like to be messing around, laughing, this and that. But I would beat your ass. Like when the game time shows up, I'm your number one enemy. AJ and me, we have a lot of back and forth while we play because once you cross those lines, the friendship is over. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do what you gotta do for your ball club. I gotta do what I gotta do for my ball club. Game over, we go back. Next day, back into the fight because that's how you handle the business. Derek was the same way. I mean, this guy, he was a straight up business. He don't say much, and I respect that. You know what I'm saying? I respect that. Now that we work together, the human, the person, I mean, I love this dude, to be honest with you. I love Derek. There is like it's a very respectful person. And to me, education goes beyond everything. And that's what he showed. I mean, we get to spend a lot of time together. Now, last night we were sitting down here in the hotel at the bar watching the game last night, and there is a guy that it's fun to be around him. To be honest with you, because the guy, man, the way he managed himself is incredible, and I tell you what, I want to play the Yankees to watch him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to compete against the Yankees to watch him, the way he handled the business, because he was very professional. Dare never got caught up into any crap. You know, I remember we had those battles where Brawl used to comes in, and I never used to see Derek dropping punch, doing anything stupid. Derek was always calming people down, and go by the business, and that's something that I never forget. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to the competition, man, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was competing, I want to act like I was the best on that field. That was my mindset. Nothing else. I every at bat, I used to take it very personal. I want to just beat you, embarrass you, and show you that I was the best. That was my mindset when I played. You know what I'm saying? And to the last day I played. That's the way I want to handle it.
So I've got one on one other teammate who actually texted us and said to ask you about this because he's our teammate too at Foul Territory. Ken Rosenthal said, ask Papi why he is the Dominican Ken Rosenthal.
I got sources.
You're scooping Ken. You're stealing his job.
I got sources. I get information.
Are you trying to be like Ken? Do you want to be an insider?
I don't think anybody can. I don't think anybody can be like him. I don't think so. He's special. He's special. Last night we were having dinner, and when we were about to leave the restaurant, he had a jacket. Right, he was sitting right next to me. They hand me the jacket. Hey, Papi, that's Ken's jacket right there. I'm like, hey, Ken, you think I can wear it? It's kind of cold outside. I don't know if you're gonna fit me. Give me my jacket. I love Kenny, man. Kenny's the best, man, and it's fun. It's fun to basically watch the way he go through details because he get information, man. That by the time we get it, he already forgot about it. You know what I'm saying? He's special.
Was Ken the one that crawled in the sewer and got your chain back for you in London?
Say what?
Was Ken the one that found your chain when you guys were in London? Is he the one that crawled down in the sewer and pulled your chain out for you?
Well, to be honest with you, the guy who did it was his size. That's why you kind of confused.
You weren't fitting down there.
No chance.
Oh, we got video footage. Incredible.
That's right. That's my man, Jesus. From the Dominican. But guys, going back to the 2004 World Series,
yeah,
I believe that the way we bounce back and we're able to be those monsters, because I tell you what, I don't think the Yankees have an offense I don't think the Yankees have ever had an offense like the one that they have that year. Like their offense was ridiculous. If you look at those guys' numbers, I mean, I'm telling you, game 3 they scored like 19 runs. I mean, it was. I feel like, man, how in the hell we gonna beat these guys? And then we start catching up on momentum. We got Millar talking all that trash. Everybody putting it together. I mean, it was crazy. Like that one first game that we beat them, we feel like we have something cooking. I mean, you got all the way to go. You got all the way to go. You lose one more game, you go home.
So Papi, the last one for me, and then AJ's got one more, is why can't more teams come back from 3-0? Right? We talked about this actually during our post-game show last night after the Phillies took down the Diamondbacks, and we're like, obviously it's must win now for Arizona because aside from 0-4, that's why you guys get mentioned all the time, no one's coming back from 3-0, right? Usually teams are like, that's it. That's the series. And usually it ends up being a sweep. Why can't it happen more often? We see 4-game winning streaks in baseball all the time. Like, obviously, I'm sure you've been asked a million times, like, how did you guys do it? What happened differently? Do we need to take shots before games? Whatever. But it doesn't happen ever.
I'm not going to tell you that is impossible because we did it, but it's almost impossible, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It's almost impossible. And it's because the fact that momentum. I don't even know. To be honest with you, I remember this from Game 4 of the 2004 playoff against the Yankees. The ALCS. Tito, as a manager, he got prepared for the Game 4 better than anybody I ever seen. He got all his pieces lined up for what he needed. If you think about it, like the Dave Robert stolen base, I don't think we can have a better base runner at that moment ready to go than Dave Roberts at that time. You can throw all the fast guys that we have on the team at the time, and I don't think anyone was better in that moment than Dave Robert. Dave Robert was a masterpiece right there. If he don't get to that second base, and then you have, listen to this, Miller, Billy Miller, we call him Billy Ballgame. What team ever in baseball has a guy that won the batting title hitting towards the end of the lineup? Have you ever thought about that?
Red Sox, 2004.
Yeah, I think he won the batting title in 03, and he was like pretty consistently in the 7 spot. So that's called lineup length.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So if you think about how everything went down, it was something that pretty much was organized to be that way. You got Dave Roberts doing that. You got him coming through with a base. Me personally, I remember facing Paul Quantrill with the Yankees and when he was with the Blue Jays. And the one thing that I always remember about him, and you correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, was the front door fastball that he used to throw to every lefty.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Remember that? If there's one guy in the big league that was famous because of that pitch, was him. So when I saw him, that I was going to face him, that's all I thought about. He's going to throw me the front door fastball right at me for me to get out of the way, and then, boom, going to come back to the plate. I was just expecting that pitch because of so many time facing him and getting to know. He was tough. He was tough. He was tough. You know what I'm saying? And that pitch, he was the best at throwing it. That ball that I hit, if you watch the replay again, that ball was coming straight up at me, and he just got some of the play towards the end. He was the best at throwing that pitch. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things went our way for us to end up beating the Yankees. But it's even the weather help us if you think about it, because we having a day off because of the rain. I think it was after the first game, and that basically after the first game we won. I think it was. I could be wrong, but I remember they had a postponed game because of rain. I think it was, or whatever, and we had to play the next day. But that give our pitchers an extra day to recover, because those guys, they weren't playing, man. They were scoring 19 runs per game. They were just whooping them. Everybody was pitching. I think I was gonna go to pitch at some point.
I would have paid to see that.
They were whooping them.
Hey, I would have paid to have seen that. You pitching your peg leg.
I would be. It'll be a straight donation. Hey, you never know, man. I can get nasty.
Hey, all right. Before you, how many? You won 3 rings, right?
Yes.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
I got 2. So I'm low. You got one more than. Yeah, I got one with the White Sox, and I got one in high school from when my son's team whooped your son's team's ass in the state championship. So I got to get one more somewhere along the way.
Hey, you know what? I don't know if you remember me walking into the clubhouse for the World Series with the White Sox. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to say hi to all of you. And the one thing I remember about that clubhouse, it was that everybody was in a good mood. Everybody. I remember I talked to my boy Freddie Garcia, who was there with y'all at the time. Ozzy. I mean, everybody were in like the winning flow. That's something that. Yeah, you guys end up just whooping everybody. But those are. But you know why that happened? You know why the clubhouse was on that flow? Because it was guys that were there before, with experience, giving guidance to the rest of the squad. And that matters during the playoff.
Agreed.
Incredible. Well, Papi, this was fun, man. We're looking forward to watching the doc. There's just one more message I had to send out to you because Jonathan Papelbon was on our watch party show last night for a few hours. And he said,
damn.
Thank you so much for donating so much money to all of his incredible dinners. He had the best time of his life on plane rides. He was jealous that he wasn't going on the plane from Philly back to Arizona for the rest of the NLCS because he's like, I could probably grab some more money from someone.
This asshole right here also make a lot of money off me right here.
Everyone made money off David. It was like David free. I need some money, David.
I was terrible at playing poker. Thanks God I was making a lot of money.
I love poker. I'm a poker guy, and I heard this is what Pap told me.
I don't play no more. I learned my lesson.
He told me you got triple aces, but he had a king and you had a queen. He was giving us an example of how it would go. And you'd be like, we both have triple aces, trip aces.
Terrible.
And he'd go, but I got king high, you got queen high. And you're like, fuck that.
No.
Terrible. I was terrible.
You know what he would do?
I'm not going to lie to you.
Hey, you know what David would do? We played Boo-Ray all the time. And David would.
That was my game.
He would start drinking, and then he'd forget what he had, and he'd just be like, oh, shit. I should have stayed in. Oh, shit. Just throw in for no reason.
Hey, I tell you what, man. I had so much fun playing with all these guys, man, because we basically came all together, and we were like a family. I remember one thing about AJ that I never forget is I was struggling badly, and I wasn't even playing. I was just going through hell, and I was with the twin at the time. And this guy right here, he came to me, to my locker, and we were kids. I mean, he wasn't like anyone were more than the other, we were kids. And I remember AJ come to me and give me that pet talk. and it made me feel better about myself at the time. I don't know if you remember that, AJ. You came to the locker and basically give me a really good pep talk, and it's needed though. I did that. You had no idea how many times I did that with teammates and stuff like that, because that's what the game is all about. You always need to have people that care about you as much as you care about them. You know what I'm saying? And you see the relationship that we still have 30 years later, and it's because the way we handle the business when we play. You know what I'm saying? And that connection always gonna be there.
That's awesome, AJ. Good shit, man. Well, Papi, this was great. We appreciate it. Let's show it one more time so people can see right after ALCS Game 3. Yankees, Red Sox, 04 ALCS. It's called The Game That Changed Everything. And it's premiering right here today after the game. That'll be on FS1. And you can see, yeah, stories from and combos with all the big boys that were involved. Papi, thanks. We're excited to watch it, and obviously, I'm sure you are too.
You already know.
Hell yeah.